This conference will now be recorded.
All right. So welcome. This is Andrea, and we are going to go through what are we to expect for the next phase of our data cleanup process. Um, Moving forward here, I want to go over the basics. So we're in the same end of year data cleanup process. So what we've been doing so far since October 1st was working on client level cleanup, those reports for each project. Those are due today, that October 20th submission deadline. Beginning next week, we will be talking about, in communication with agencies, about system level cleanup. So once you've done the cleanup for all the data that you can see individually for each of your projects, we're going to look at the data over a bigger scope from kind of our perspective as system administrators in your COCs and determine if there are any additional things that are flagging. So there's some things that you just can't see, but also there might be errors that maybe look like errors, but you actually already cleaned them up, right? So you've already worked on some duplicate enrollment issues inside your projects and other things like that to make this phase more accurate. So this part of the phase is going to continue until Thanksgiving, until that November 18th deadline. And then from there, it's really a conversation between NCCEH and HUD. So from there, we're hoping to not just work with HUD and the COC leads to submit your data. So this phase, still, we're going to have the same participants. So all of our street outreach, emergency shelter, transitional housing, rapid rehousing, permanent supportive housing, and those other permanent housing projects that were involved in client level cleanup, same folks. So nothing's changing there. And we just want to highlight again that the system level cleanup is a by project process, but we're going to be we're finishing up the submission issues this week and then sending out those system level issues to agencies next week. This will be conducted through ongoing communication between agencies, your agency administrator, and your NCCEH point person. So definitely keep those Zendesk tickets handy. Make sure you can find those. The ongoing communication is going to include our identifying those issues and asking for you to correct them or confirm them. We're hoping that this is a reduced list because of this first phase of the process. We need everything to be complete and corrected before or by November 18th in order to have a successful submission and process with HUD. So we'll go into that, but this is going to be more of the spreadsheet sending activities that we've done in years past. So you've done your reports, and we're going to be sending you some additional things to look at. We're going to continue to have our resources of our training opportunities, Zen guides, and of course, help desk support. In this phase, it's going to be even more important to have that individual communication with your point person because the issues are probably going to be pretty unique to each agency. Okay, so I'm just going to remind us here from our info session, we're here in our timeline for data cleanup, October 20th. Our project reports are due. So if you haven't submitted your reports for each project yet, please do submit those today. Even if you know there's some issues still with that, let us know, be in communication with your point person and submit those so we have at least one submission per project. Then over the next 4 weeks, we're going to be working on those system level cleanup issues. So we will be working with you on these additional issues. Now, if something wasn't fixed wasn't done in this earlier October phase, we're going to still be asking you about it in this phase. So it's kind of a yes and situation. If you were able to complete everything so far, this is going to be a much easier few weeks for you. And if not, we are going to be following up with you about potentially those client level errors and those reports, as well as system level issues like those duplicates. So that is going to be ongoing communication, and we don't have a deadline set here except for the 18th, just because it's a really iterative process at this point. So as you're able to address those system issues, we're going to be able to check back and see if that resolved it. All right. And then from there, we're really working with the COC leads and with HUD themselves on final submission. So there could be additional questions asked. We're going to get some flags. There's so many lovely flags that can happen, and try to sort through those in order to see if there's anything else. But we're really trying to minimize the corrections needed during Thanksgiving and after Thanksgiving for agencies. All right, so we've talked about this before. I just wanted to highlight again. This is the same project types as the first part. So if you answered these questions, yes, your project is included. And all right, so our roles, sorry, that's for this phase here. So our roles, our agency administrators are, this is the wrong slide, hold on. This one I missed that. Okay, sorry. So for those, if you haven't submitted your reports, you're still required to submit those reports, right? So I just want to be clear. We've gotten a lot of submissions today, but we're still not quite at 100%. So our agency admins are still needed to submit those business objects reports, and they may still need to rely on HMIS users in general for corrections. So again, this is due today. We need every project to submit at least once per project. All right, so what are our next steps? So we are, if you haven't yet, submit those reports. Can't emphasize that enough. We are going to communicate with your point person about the status. So if you are having trouble, please let us know. There is that drop down in the submission process, but we really need to know what the status is for your submissions, and continue to make corrections if possible, if applicable. And then we want to be ready to receive those system level issues. So today and tomorrow, you should be hearing from NCCEH staff about your submission status. We're reviewing submissions, making sure that that's been done accurately. If there's any reporting issues, any prompt issues, or anything we have questions on, we'll be reaching out to you. And then beginning next week, really including those system level issues in our communication. All right, so this is, any questions so far about this next phase? All right, so we're still going to have, we're going to still need to rely on some of the same materials that we have been working with. Our Zen Guide articles in particular about how to fix things. It's possible that those things are going to come up in this next phase. And then I just can't emphasize this enough that we are going to be working via help desk. So if you have questions, you're going to need to reach out to help desk directly. I have a chat here. Hold on. All right. Um, okay, so I think I could be wrong, but I feel like most of the folks on the call have submitted. Is that right?
I've submitted some things, but not everything.
Okay, so the task really for us today is to submit what for your projects in order to get that status check for where are we, um, and then we will continue moving forward. The client level reports are really impacting those system level reports, so that is really critical to complete fully.
I do have a quick question. Do you need the orange fiscal year 2021 and the orange fiscal year 2022 reports, or do you just need us to report the 22?
Please attach all of those. Yeah, because for orange, you're going back 2 years, so I think you're running those multiple reports, so include all those.
Got you. Thank you.
Yeah.
Andrea, this is Jessica. And for those of you that don't know me, I work on the help desk team. I just wanted to reiterate, because I've had a lot of questions come across help desk today. There's a submission, you're going to do one for each project. So if you have 4 projects, you're going to submit 4 separate times. Each submission, though, you will put D002, D003 reports on there. And if you're street outreach, D001. But it's make sure, project A, you submit for that project and you attach the business object reports that were ran for only project A. And then project B, you're doing another submission, attach reports that were ran only for project B. So I just wanted to clarify that because I've had a lot of questions across help desk today about that.
Can I confirm something, Andrea?
Please.
So on reports where the error is still flagging, but the agency admin has checked and it's like, there's nothing we can do. The best selection for us is to choose the one that says, submitted with errors, agency admin confirmed.
Yes. So let's do that. Let's take a look here. So yes, you're right. I just want to show this all on here. So for your submission, this is what that link looks like. You'll label your agency, but then just like Jessica and Ricky were referring, you would mark each project, or you're submitting each project separately. So if I am heading home, I would be submitting my rapid rehousing state ESG project separately from my Durham County ESG project. And so then do confirm that with a numerical project ID. So that'll help us keep that all separate and checked. And then in the submission status, this is what we're talking about here. So for whichever reports come up, there's different options here. Submission is error-free. That's the ideal, but we might not be there today. If there are errors, we want, yes, Ricky, this one right here, contains errors verified accurate by the agency admin. That's what you want to submit today. And then if we've been in contact, then you might submit saying, like, we gave you permission to submit. And then if there's no client served, definitely use that option. So do that for each of the reports that are required for your project type. If I was doing street outreach, there's just another one here that you'll want to select that status for. And then the thing about these files is you can drag and drop more than one file there. So you can browse your files. Let's see what I have here. Ooh, SSVF grant announcements. So I can attach that as a file, and I can keep going. So if I have my my D2 and my D3, I can add all of that for one project. So it should only be the reports that apply to this project ID that you're submitting above. And you can add any clarifying comments here. That's awesome. And then submit. Any other questions about that submission form?
Could you put the link to that in the chat?
Andrea.
Absolutely. Yeah,
And Andrea, I just want to, it's Nicole. I just wanted to clarify, there is also a difference between I'm confirming that this social security number is a partial social security number, or that it's a data not collected or data not known and it's flagging, versus I'm trying to fix this and I keep trying to fix it and it's not correcting the way that it should. We've gotten a lot of, I think, help desk tickets around like, oh, I tried to change this and then it keeps, like I tried to change the head of household to head of household, but it keeps showing the other response, or I keep trying to change it to yes or no. And those are a different situation. That's not you necessarily confirming it's a correct error. It's probably that you have to go into the history and remove incorrect or conflicting responses. And so those we don't want you to confirm as correct. Those we want to actually figure out how to get rid of those extra responses out of there. But like, right, if you are confirming that this date of birth is data not collected and it's flagging, then that is a confirmed error, if that makes sense.
Right. So just to reiterate what you're saying, in that situation where you're like, I'm going to get these socials, I can fix this, I just can't fix it today. You would use probably this submission status for contains errors and did not receive permission. We haven't communicated, right? You haven't troubleshooted this issue with NCCEH staff. So that would be this selection here. Awesome. Okay. Well, we're still, we may have been a little ambitious with this training in that we thought we would be done. So we are still squarely in the middle of the submission of those reports. And so really those next steps are keep an eye out, please respond. And the next phase will end November 18th. I'm going to stop our recording here. I think we have covered that key information, and I'll stay on for any additional questions that folks have. Thanks so much.